Man, when it comes to the 2020 NHL Draft, Red Wings fans are filled with trepidation. They're nervous, they're anxious, they're scared off of what's going to happen, because a few weeks later in June, we will be having the draft lottery, which will determine where the Red Wings will pick in the top 4 of this year's entry draft. They have the highest odds at getting first overall from an individual pick standpoint, but when it comes to overall picks, the Ottawa Senators have the highest odds at getting first. In fact, the Red Wings have a more than 50% chance of dropping down to 4 than staying in the top 3, which is absolutely bonkers because they were terrible this past season. But I'm here to make this video to reassure Red Wings fans that, hey, just because they may be getting screwed by the draft lottery, they may be getting screwed in the first few picks of the draft, they may be forced to go from first to fourth, there still is some great potential here for Detroit to draft in this draft. What is up, viewer out there watching this video? Alex back here bringing you this time a discussion on what the Red Wings should do in round number 2. Yes, the second round of the 2020 draft is what we're focusing on here today. Picks number 32 all the way to 62. Now, the reason I'm talking about it in such a positive way is because the Red Wings actually have 3 picks in this range. None of them are conditional, they're all solidified and locked in there. And because we're talking about what's happening in the second round, the draft lottery does not impact this. This is already decided. It's going to be using the normal order of the normal NHL regular season, and no matter what happens in the draft lottery, these positions will not change. So, what are the 3 picks that the Red Wings hold in round 2? Well, first off, they have their own first overall pick in the second round, which is 32nd overall. That's their own pick. They were the worst team, so it's likely that they're going to get the first one. Then they have themselves the 54th overall pick. This pick was acquired in the Andreas Athanasiou trade, where the Red Wings traded Athanasiou and Ryan Kuffner to the Oilers in exchange for Sam Gagner, this pick, and a second-round pick next year. They also have the 58th overall pick, where they acquired in the Madison Bowie-Nick Jensen trade. That was a swappage of Bowie and Jensen, as well as 2 draft picks, the second for Detroit and a 5th round pick for the Washington Capitals. So the Red Wings have number 32, they have number 54, and they have number 58. These are some really good numbers. Now, because we're taking a look at who the Red Wings can draft in the second round, let's go over onto futureconsiderations.ca and take a look at their top rankings for the 2020 NHL Draft. This ranking is from March, so it's just before the NHL season paused up, before all the other hockey leagues paused up, so it'll give us an interesting understanding as to who could be available in this range. Now, full disclaimer, this is just one scouting outlet's scouting list, so obviously things could be different, but the amount of talent that does present itself in this range on this list is a very nice and welcome indicator as to the possibilities that could present itself at the 2020 draft. In the 32nd overall spot, you have a whole bunch of guys. Look at the guys right before 32. You have Jean-Luc Foudy, who is a Windsor Spitfires dynamo center, brother of Liam Foudy, a guy who I covered a few years ago back when he was drafted. Jean-Luc Foudy is a guy who is noted as one of the best passers in the entire draft, mostly because of his high danger pass efficiency rate. This means that this guy, whenever he's creating opportunities, he's almost always setting up players in front. He's also one of the best movers of the entire draft. However, he is noted by a somewhat definable lack of strength as well as an unrefined nature to his game, but as a raw player with a whole bunch of tools, Jean-Luc Foudy would be a really good pickup at number 32. Not to mention some of these other guys here. Sean Farrell from the USHL scored a boatload of picks in that league this year and is going off to Harvard, so he will be able to hone his game there in what is known as a very nice hockey program. Not to mention the other guys over here, Justin Barron. You've seen this guy's name pop up everywhere. I honestly don't know if he's going to be available at number 32, but hey, weirder things have happened for sure. Not to mention Helge Grans, who is another guy who some people are very high on, as well as Topi Niemela. If you want Finnish D-men who are already proven to be doing great things at the Liga level, Topi Niemela is your guy. He's already a player in this league. 7 points, 40 games played at 17 years old. That's definitely definitely not bad at all. The two-way upside and offensive capabilities are strong with this player, and there's a reason he was able to stick around for such a long time. The fact that he's ranked in this range means that any team that would be willing to take this kind of player is betting on the long-term potential that Niemela could potentially bring to the NHL. Some of the other guys they have over here, take a look at Zion Nybeck. He's a guy who many people kind of classified as one of the more underrated Swedish forwards in this draft. You have the big guys at the top, Raymond, Holtz, Gunler, etc. But Zion Nybeck playing in the SHL2 certainly isn't somebody to take lightly. He got 66 points in 42 games with the super elite junior 20 team this past season and played 15 games in the full-time SHL league. Certainly not bad. The only problem is he's 5'8", so he is a small guy. With the Red Wings core of Berggren and a whole bunch of other guys from Europe coming up later on, it certainly wouldn't be a bad pick to get this kind of player at that 32nd overall spot. Take a look at the guy right after him, Thomas Borderlo. This is a guy who was one of the more skilled, flashy players on the NTDP. Now, the NTDP this year was kind of lacking compared to last season because last season you had Zagros, Turcotte, Hughes, Caulfield, etc., but this year's NTDP group definitely does have their own really nice players as well. Thomas Bordelot is definitely one of those. He's got some really good hands and creativity, and as a result, he was the top point producer on the US NTDP this past season. Now, the thing is, there are a few other really notable names on this list at this range. You take a look at number 40, that's Kasper Simonteval. You take a look at number 41, that's John Jason Peterka. You take a look at Martin Chromiak, Jake Neighbors, Lucas Reichel at number 48. So if you Red Wings fans are out there wanting to see more Germans, then JJ Peterka and Lucas Reichel could potentially be there if the FC hockey rankings end up being the 100% accurate truth. It's just that I think these two guys are most likely going to go earlier in the draft, if not in the first round. But, you know, you never know. We know Steve Yzerman likes his Germans as he took Moritz Seider last year, but if we go down into the 56, 57, 58 range, which is where the Red Wings have their other two picks in the mid-50s of the NHL draft, taking a look at who Future Considerations has over there, you have some really interesting players. Roby Arfanti is a guy who stands out to me. He's a left winger in the Métis. You have Carter Savoy at number 61. Now, this could be one of the most dangerous picks in the entire NHL draft. Not because I doubt his skill, but because I kinda doubt everything else. Carter Savoy is the older brother of Matthew Savoy, who is the WHL phenom. He could be going first overall in 2022, but Carter Savoy is a different kind of player. He's not a guy who is going to go first overall by any means, but his talent is through the roof. Playing for the AJHL this past season, he had 99 points, 53 goals in 54 games. He is so skilled. Puck skills, the shot, it's all there. It's just the guy's commitment and his own presence in his own zone is almost not there entirely. People will say that they don't actually see this guy enter the defensive zone at all, which is why, despite the talent, he's ranked so low amongst all these scouting outlets. Because good players have both the offense and the defense. Some guys who are only offense, but extraordinarily good at offense, can't justify a higher rating. So this is certainly a player that I think if the Red Wings wanted to take a swing on, there certainly can be a reward if the Red Wings are able to develop him properly and get him to recognize that hockey is a two-way sport as well. However, there are a few other really nice prospects too. Going down the list, you have a few more. You have Dylan Peterson, you have Luca Evangelista, you have Justin Sordiff, who is from Vancouver, and a whole bunch of other guys. But the point that I'm making in this video is that many of these players are guys that some people would say could even go in the first round. Guys like Kasper Simontoval and Lucas Reichel and JJ Peterka are all people who some fans and media are saying are as good as first-round caliber players. And if any of these guys are available towards the middle of the second round, then hey, the Red Wings can snag them up. So, comment down below what you think about the players that we discussed here today. Anybody else that you saw on this list that stands out to you and who you would like to take for the Red Wings? Comment down below if you see that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Search on the Trollson 99, and bye.